Hello everybody and welcome back. Today we're going to determine if Witchblood is a game for you. I like to review indie hidden gems in games, and this one caught my eye. To stay up to date on reviews like this, toss me a sub and give this video a thumbs up. Witchblood has kind of been relaunched on the Quest 3. It originally came out for the Oculus Go and cell phone VR systems, but now as a shiny new mixed reality mode. In Witchblood, you play as Clara Pathmore, a girl who discovers she has magical powers a little while after her father is killed for hiding magic. From then on, you are trying to survive and avenge your father. That is just about the entire story of the game. It provides just enough narrative to give you some context, but it's never really super deep. And you may have noticed by now, but Witchblood is a true 2D side-scroller in VR, which I found the idea of quite intriguing, to be honest. That immediately begs the question, why the hell is this a VR game to begin with? And what, if anything, does VR add to this experience, and why is it in mixed reality now? Now, most people are probably watching this because they want to know about that mixed reality mode, and it's definitely cool to see this game world floating in your living room. And mixed reality, without question, adds to that diorama feel you get when playing non-first person games, kind of like Moss. It's pretty cool to see this miniaturized girl running around this tiny little world before you, slaying monsters and the like. And overall, this game works really well as a mixed reality title, but just don't expect to see any kind of gameplay tied to that feature. It's simply the game world floating before you. Switching between VR and pass-through is quite painless. Just push one button and cycle between different views. And I love this feature. It's not buried away in a menu. It's very accessible and there when I want it. However, if I had to nitpick, I would say that playing in mixed reality puts you at a slight disadvantage because the full VR view does give you essentially a map of the rooms on the other sides of the doors, which does make the game a bit easier to navigate, especially when backtracking. And I do think this game's map system is pretty nifty. It's kind of cool to look ahead or behind to see a silhouette of where you have been. And I actually think this is a great use of VR and a wonderful way to keep your nose out of the menu. You can just glance around to see where you've been. The game, however, does not have any motion controls, but I do think VR still adds to the experience here. You still get the benefits of added depth and 3D visuals, even though the game is 2D. And the environments are fun to look at, and they kind of beg you to just take them all in. However, this game needs to run at a higher resolution, which I find strange. I feel like it was released specifically for the mixed reality capabilities of the Quest 3, but it's running at a much lower resolution than what it could. In fact, I went into the Quest Game Optimizer, and I kid you not, I doubled the resolution, and it's night and day difference. So much sharper, so much more clarity, and the game still runs just fine. It's a little baffling to me why Witchblood runs at such a low default resolution. I mean, it's obviously targeting the Quest 3 with its mixed reality capabilities. I mean, I know the Quest 2 also has mixed reality pass-through, but let's be honest, there's no coincidence that this old VR game was relaunched after the Quest 3. But this could easily be fixed with an update, or if you're kind of more tech savvy, just up the resolution like I did. Witchblood itself is a fairly simple game. You run around and swing your sword at the bad guys and try not to take too much damage in the process. Over time, you unlock a bunch of new abilities and weapons. You start off wielding this kind of pointy stick here that you can only poke at things. After a time, you'll be finding some sharper objects and spell books. Not only are these weapons pointier, but they also give you extra attack animations, and each one certainly feels better than the last. But at the end of the day, you are really just mashing the same button over and over again to watch the same attack animations play out. And remember, there are no motion controls in Witchblood, and the sword combat, it just isn't super deep. You won't be pulling off combos or charging up power attacks here. It's very straightforward. And it does get a little more exciting when you mix in magical spells. Most of those come in your standard elemental variety. It's easy enough to switch between them. While we're on that topic, quick side note, overall the game's controls are fantastic. The spells themselves are all pretty good and useful, except for wind. It doesn't really seem to have much of a purpose once you unlock the other spells, aside from occasionally opening a blocked path and revealing a secret. My favorite spell was Ice, as it gave me a ranged attack, and once I got it, Breaking Wind became an afterthought. And I kind of like it when a game finds a way to make all of its tools useful to the very end, and that's not really the case here. But hey, it's not a game breaker. If you're into secrets and scouring levels for every unlockable you can possibly find, then Witchblood, it has a lot to offer you. And there's a very real motivation to discovering all of these secrets because each one makes you grow in power in some way. More health, mana, or upgrading your abilities and weapons. However, I do think this game just has too much backtracking in it, and unfortunately it's just not always fun. And once the "it looks cool" factor of mixed reality wears off, I found myself not using it anymore. I haven't really found too many games where mixed reality greatly improves the experience. Most of the time it just kind of feels like a gimmick. If you have found a mixed reality title worth the time, let me know what it is. I think there's potential, but I just don't think we're quite there yet. In Witchblood, it does mixed reality pretty well, but I still think the full VR view is the best way to play this game because getting lost just happens too often, and I needed that trusty map. To Witchblood's credit, there's a ton of different rooms in this game. However, at times, it feels like an absolute maze and not always in the best way. I spent a lot of time just kind of walking in circles, trying to find that one door I needed to go through. And to make this worse, enemies respawn often, like way too often, and quite frankly, it got annoying. On a few times, just ducking in and out of a room respawned them. I would definitely have enjoyed this game more if enemies just straight up never respawned. Ever. It sucks getting lost, and oftentimes in other games finding something to kill is a good indicator you're on the right path to progress the game forward. And on so many occasions, I just wanted to skip past the enemies that I had already killed numerous times. Eventually, you do unlock double jump, making ignoring them much easier. In fact, from then on, I decided to ignore basically every enemy I could, because if they just respawn after 5 or 10 minutes, what's the point of killing them in the first place? And it's not a good thing when I find myself wanting to ignore a game's enemies. I want them to be fun to kill. And with mediocre combat and respawning enemies, this kind of became the nail in the coffin for me for Witchblood. So, do I recommend this game? Well, the answer is maybe. I don't think this is a game for me, but it might still be for you. And it's not all bad, especially if you don't get lost as often as I did. It's a very charming game, and I did enjoy a couple of hours worth of my playthrough. If you are play space challenged on a plane, or just want to fire up a game and still keep an eye on the kids, sure. Yeah, it's pretty good for that. And the game is cheap at just $15, and it'll probably take you, let's say, 4 to 6 hours to beat, which is pretty decent for the price. But for me, I just don't have much of a desire to play it. If you think I got this one wrong, let me know in the comments, because I certainly think there will be plenty of people who do like this game and who will disagree with me. And it seems like there's a lot of mixed reality clickbait and hype out there, especially for this game. But for me, the gameplay just needed to be better. And that's it for today's video. I hope this video helped you decide if Witchblood is a game for you. If you want to see more indie game reviews, please consider subscribing and give me a thumbs up. Help this video reach a wider audience. Each thumbs up does a ton for a small channel like mine, and same with the comments. Thanks, and catch you next time.